What's going on, guys? Young 46. Thought I'd just do a talk through. This is the 50 credit Merion front 9 ready to go. It's pretty late here on the East Coast. Hopefully I can put together something solid here. First hole, downwind. You can go over this bunker if you have a good ball. You do have to watch these trees. I kind of use the center line here. If you look at the right bunker, it's almost like a kidney-shaped bunker, and if you go right through the center of that, you should be okay with hitting the trees. You should get through them. But here into a headwind, I'm just going to lay back. It's a wedge either way, especially into this front pin, so I'm not even going to give it the full shot here.
You crushed it.
Lay back, give myself a nice shot from the fairway. So a nice little simple flippable wedge here. There's not too much to it. Bust out the ruler. And again, this ruler, if anybody wants it, it's available. If you look under my blog, I've got instructions on how to download it and how to calibrate it and all that fun stuff. This hole, not too difficult of a shot. Unfortunately, I don't remember what greens we're playing. It's probably tournament 11 or so. So I'm thinking, do I want to land it past the pin, and how much is it going to come back? With the 90 ball and these wedges, it's going to come back a little bit. It's going to come back about a yard. This shot will probably play somewhere around 70, 73 or so. So I'm going to land it about 74 and spin it back a little bit. I landed a yard past. Didn't quite come back as much as I was thinking, but still a good shot. Putts like this, I play with so many guys who play this at speed, and you got to play so much break here. If I was playing this at speed, gosh, I'd have to aim, way up here, and then I risk leaving it short. My suggestion is just ram them. Get comfortable with hitting a ram. Look how much break I've taken out of this putt. Taken a lot out here, and all I have to do is just hit it 4 feet. So even if I miss this putt, it's not as though it's going to go by 5 or 6 feet on very fast. That one may have a little heat on it. Hit that a little firmer. But just get comfortable with it. Experiment with it. You'll see that your putts 0 to 5 feet are going to go way up. This hole, unfortunately, didn't get a great win.
Crushed it.
Probably can't reach.
That's in the garden
No,
spot.
can't reach. Usually anything over, if it's less than 300 off the tee, I probably just need to lay up. If I were to hit this right now, it's probably going to go in here. I see a lot of guys hit bad approaches here. This white tree you see in the background is pretty much splitting the fairway. So I always use that as my aiming point. Something I don't see a lot of people do here is punch a 3-wood. I think it's a really good play here. Keeps it low to the ground, and if you miss, it's not going to be as bad. So your misses aren't going to be as severe on the punch. And the main thing here, you're going to hit a wedge in anyway. So just lay back to the fat part. Just give yourself a nice little wedge in. This one, let's see, 50, probably it's going to play 50, 54 or so, 53. Again, I've got to think about what the ball's going to do when it hits the green. This hole, it's going to come back just a little bit. It's not going to come back a ton. So about right there should be good. Again, I said 53. I want to land it about 54. Oh, pretty good. A little pass. again, I'm always thinking, I want to try to make it. So I'm trying to hole every shot. And I know it's going to come back a little bit. Again, this is another one of those putts. It doesn't make sense. It's going to break a little bit. So just put it on the edge and hit this thing 4.1 feet. It's going to break. Keep it inside the cup there. And you're good. First real challenge here. It's a tricky one. So for me here, this would be a little tip. Biggest thing here is I gotta hit the ding. Oh, that was terrible. That was a little late night pull. Didn't want to miss late. So over exaggerated that one. Tough putt here. Very, very tough putt. So it's just kind of all by feel. Let's see. Pretty hard break. It's going to continue down that line. Okay. Let's give it a wrap. See what happens. Ooh. That was not going to be good. Played that pretty high on purpose, hoping it would come down, but it's not. Still not a bad putt. Yeah, it's downhill, but again, it's another one of those where you have confidence, hit the ram. You see, it's not breaking a ton, so I know I can keep this thing somewhere out here. If I give that a wrap out here, it should be good. I'm going to hit it 4 feet, have some confidence.
Solid putt.
Didn't go by very much either, even if it did miss. Never like making a par, but that's just one of those holes where more often than not you're going to make a par. Scoreable hole here, but it can be quite difficult too, especially when you pull your drive like that. You need a good kick that I'm not going to get. Oh, looks like
That's in the garden spot.
This 3-wood approach could be pretty tricky. I've missed the fairway a lot here. One of the things I've learned to do, just going to aim down the center. I can go for the ding here, and it's a good call. Or I just missed ding over here. I was either going to ding it or I was going to miss early. That was just me not paying attention to how far away I was there. I was very lucky there. Lapse of judgment, no doubt. Okay. I'm trying to think here. I'll land this probably about 40. This will usually come back with some good bite on it here. It's about right there. Now when you're playing on a 30-40 rough, the wind's not going to have as big of an effect on it. So you have to play a little less than what you would think you'd have to. So right now I'm just debating full backspin. What's it going to do? I think it's going to come back a little bit, not a ton. So I'm going to land this pin high. We'll see what happens. So I landed a pin high, and it did come back. Bit of a gamble, but I felt pretty comfortable that's what it was going to do. So it got away with a pretty dumb shot there, dumb approach in. Now we start the tough holes. 5, 6. Those are always going to be difficult birdie holes, and if you birdie them, you probably gained a stroke on the field.
Oh, you crushed it.
I like this pin position more so than the back, but they're both still very, very tricky pins to hit. So this, I've got about 190 or so. I think the elevation and the wind sort of negate each other here. I don't play as much in terms of wind, just because if I miss to the right, I'm okay with that. Here, it's a tricky one. You really want to hit something with some full backspin. But my 5-iron, obviously I have to think about if I land it short. If I land it short, it's not the worst thing in the world. I can pitch it in, but I would prefer not to. This is probably going to be short. I just don't have the right club to necessarily attack this pin. It'd really be a 4-iron hitting probably 95% or a 5. So I'll go with the 4 just because it's full backspin. Normally I would like to hit something else. I could try to hit a runner or something like that. I pushed it, but that's perfectly okay. Like I said, right's not going to kill me. I might get a good hop. So not the end of the world there. Distance was pretty good. Didn't quite bite. Tricky putt. So this is one of those holes where maybe a ram's not the best choice. Maybe you kind of 2-putt and just say, hey, you know what, par's a good number here. I'm going to be aggressive with it, just because. Tricky one to gauge, no doubt. I feel like that's a really good line. I'm going to misding this. I'm going to misding this early. Just a hair early. Yeah, I should have misdinged a little bit more. And again, I'm going to aim it just outside the cup and ram it home. A little misding there late, just to make sure I played enough. Alright, so disappointing par there. I've got a little bit of room here. Try to cut some of this dog leg off, and I've got the wind to help me out. That should be fine. I could have taken a lot more off of that if I wanted to.
That's in the garden spot.
Tricky pin. Another tricky pin here. So on this pin right here, really what you want to do, ideally if you can be short, it gives you an uphill putt, which is great. Kind of alleviate, well, not alleviate, but maybe reduce the possibility of 3-putting, which is good. So maybe I'm thinking land short here. I've got a pretty good number in here. Got a really good number actually. So I'm going to be pretty aggressive with this shot. Should be a pretty good ball there. If it sits. Sit down. It's going to be a tricky one. Again, it was a good number for me, so I felt like I could be pretty aggressive there. And very fast kind of makes that an easier call, I guess. Again, this is going to be another one where I'm going to ram it. 4.7. Again, I'm just kind of picturing in my head where it's going to break, how hard it's going to break. And I'm feeling pretty good about that line. I'm actually going to hit it 5.7. So I'm going to hit this one pretty firm. Oof. That sucker had some break to it. So I need to go a little bit higher. Always hate making pars on those holes, but it is what it is. This I'm just going to hit at speed. Usually plays a little slower. You can see that barely jumped in there. We got the fun pin. Front pin is always a difficult one here. I found a pretty good method for playing it. Seems to work pretty well for me anyway. A lot of times I see guys, hit into this pin and they spin back because it's pretty easy to do actually. You kind of hit into it and then it bites just a little bit and it spins all the way back down the hill. The best thing I've found to do is hit a punch, but don't play any spin. So just play a flat punch in here. It's going to hit, it's going to take a hop, and then it should just pretty much die. Right? So ideally that's what we want. We want it to just hit and die. So for me, I'm thinking, I want to land this like 39 yards. So 39 yards is going to be my goal. And it should hit, take a hard bounce, and then just completely die. So I could have been a little more aggressive, but it leaves me below the hole. It didn't spin back. Got a good uphill look at it. It's not going to break a ton, so it's a very makeable putt. Again, it's just one I'm gonna ram this thing right in the cup, take out all that break, and just be firm with my putt. Downwind, biggest thing here is just be in the fairway. I see a lot of guys go long here. You could hit a 3-wood. Anything will ensure that you have a nice little wedge in here. So I'm just hitting the driver about 85%. Just want to make sure I catch the fairway. Even if I'm 80 yards back, that's okay.
Good
Still
ball.
just a nice little flip of a wedge in. You can see I definitely could have been more aggressive with it, but you have to look at risk reward. Is it worth an extra 10 yards if I'm in 40-50 rough trying to hit the shot? And to me, it's not. This should be a good distance. Should be a really good distance, maybe even holdable. So this might go left of the pin. That's okay. I've got a little ridge I can use. So this is definitely going to go long. So it definitely goes long, but then it comes back. So you know that, and you can play that all day for it to come back. It's a little slider, but from 3 feet, certainly not the kind of sliders we've had so far. Again, I'm just going to aim it on the outside of the cup. Going to hit it probably 4.5 feet. And just ram it in. All right, so down to 9. Bit of disappointing around here. I always try to keep 29 as my goal going into it. If I can shoot a 29, I'm pretty happy on the front side. It's obviously, in my opinion, the more difficult side, but I guess that depends on the individual. This hole, if I miss right, I have a fairly easy putt. If I miss left, it gets a little hairier. So my tendency, I'm aiming a little further out. And if I'm going to miss ding, then my goal here is to miss ding on the late side here. So I ended up dinging it. The wind's taking it a lot more than I suspected. It's not a bad shot. It's going to have a lot more break than if I was on the right side. That sucker broke to the wind a lot more than I thought. So this is a really good view. I can get a really good feel for how the putt's going to break right here. This line feels pretty good. I'm pretty confident in that putt. I think it might break a little more than I'm thinking. I could miss ding slightly early to kind of offset that a little bit. So you've got some initial break that's pretty hard. And your initial break's going to definitely come into play. So maybe out here just a hair. So I'm feeling pretty good about that line. Alright, you see I put a little bit more heat on it. You know, I like to try to match the speed up with the one I'm seeing. So all in all, not terrible. You know, for Merion front 9, I'll take it. Obviously, 5 here, that little 7-footer would have been nice. 6, I had a 5-footer there. 3 was a nice big pool there. But all in all, it's not so bad. Average distance to the pin was solid, and the putter just kind of failed me on a couple, but overall pretty happy with it. Alright guys, more videos to come here in the future.